This is going to be just a quick and dirty explanation of how to set up VRM avatars for use with stuff like VSeeFace and whatnot. I don't know what other programs there are, but I mainly use VSeeFace, so that's what I know how to do, and we're going to use that. Okay, cool, that sounds good. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure you have all your software ready to go. So what you're going to need is, if you're messing with your model at all, you're going to want some form of 3D program. I personally use Blender. It's free, it's open source, you can do whatever you want with it, and for texturing you can use really whatever the fuck you want. Some people use Photoshop, some people use Fire Alpaca. I use Substance Painter. It's pricey, but it's also industry standard, which is why I use it. So Blender is for messing with the actual 3D model itself. Your painting program is for messing with the textures, like making the textures that you're going to want to go onto the model, unless you're using just textures that someone else made, like I will be doing in the, well, I'd say that someone else made, but I made these textures because I was commissioned to do so. Once you got those sorted, your 3D program and your texture program, you're going to need the proper version of Unity. In this one, we will be using the LTS, which is long-term support version of 2021.3, because we're just doing plain old normal VRMs. If you're using VSF, you will need to use some funky version of the 2019 version of Unity. And on top of those, you will need your appropriate SDKs. We're using the 0.x version of the VRM SDK. I don't remember what versions you need if you're using VSF. If you Google VSF SDK, it will take you to the GitHub page that'll tell you what you need to use it. So once you got those sorted, you're going to want to make sure you have your model ready. You could be using a model that you bought just straight out of the box, so that'll be the model file, the .fbx. But if you're using that 3D program that we mentioned earlier, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into that, so in this case Blender, and once you've got your model ready to go, you're going to want to go up to File, Export, FBX, and then select it. Now, you might have some extra stuff in your scene. If you do, be sure to select Limit to Selected Objects. That way, and make sure you have your armature and any mesh, your objects selected, so that you can just get those, nothing else, no extra bits, no cameras, no lights, no random scene things as seen here, because I had set up for renders and then just default posed the model to export it. Once you got that all good to go, you're going to want to boot up Unity, you're going to want to make a new 3D project, set the name, open it, wait for it to load, because that's going to take a while. You can just put on your favorite music, YouTube video, and you're just sit and stare at it, or do what I do and just drink some wine. But once that's open, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go up to Assets, Import Package, Custom Package, find where you downloaded the SDK that I mentioned earlier. Links will be in the description for the VRM SDK if you want to follow along at all. And then import that package, select import in the window that pops up, let it import everything. Once that's good, you're going to want to import your model file, which you can do by clicking and dragging. Import your textures, again, click and drag. You can just drag the whole folder, it'll import everything. So once you've got everything imported, you can't quite get straight to slapping everything together, because if you drag model into the scene and start messing with blend shapes and stuff, you will notice some messy stuff with shading. It's a bit subtle here, but on other models it will be more noticeable and at times completely horrific. So what you're going to want to do is click on the model in your assets folder, go over to the rig tab, and you will see a drop down that says generic. If you click on that, you will need to set it to humanoid. That doesn't fix the shading thing, but you will need it because of some fucky stuff with it grabbing bones. And then you will need to go over to the model tab, look for a drop down that says legacy blend shape normals, click that to check it. Don't ask me what this does, I don't even know, I just know it makes things look right. Then once you've done that, you can drag your model into the scene, be sure to set it to the default position of 0, 0, 0, and then you can get to putting everything together. So first what you're going to want to do, because the materials that are packaged into the model are not editable, you'll want to make fresh materials of every single one. In this case, there are 4 materials: the body, eyes, miscellaneous, and clothes. And then you can get to slapping them onto the model. If you click the materials drop down on the mesh itself, once you have that selected, you will see all the slots. You just drag the appropriate material to the appropriate slot. And then what you can do, once you've got those in, you can drag the textures from wherever you have them saved in your project to their appropriate slots. If you have emissives and you're using a standard shader, you will need to check this box that says emission before you can add the emission texture into it, otherwise you will have nowhere to put it. Then once you've got materials looking how you want, you can go to setting up spring bones, which if you've used VRChat, these are the same as dynamic bones, or I don't know what VRChat uses nowadays. I don't keep up with it. And sometimes when you add spring bones, you will notice they have these big yellow balls around them. You can change the size of these with hit radius. These are essentially just little colliders and shit. Then once you've got that going, what you're going to want to do is export it. If you export it now, and then put it into VSeeFace or whatever, you will notice there is no talking and stuff. It won't move the mouth, it won't do anything. It'll still track your head and do the jiggly jiggles. So because of that, what you're going to want to do is go back to your Unity project, make a folder. I typically name it VRM imp or VRM import, whatever you want to name it, whatever's convenient for you, just name it that. Then you're going to want to go up to VRM and then import. Find where you saved that VRM that we just exported, import it back into the project, and then in that folder you'll see the prefab with it, and you drag that into the scene, again, default 000, and once you've got it into the scene, just scroll down in the root object, find this thing that says blend shape proxy, click blend shape, it'll take you to where in your assets that you have blend shape saved, click that, and then here comes the fun part of where we set the blend shapes and the visemes. So what you're going to want to do is go through every single one, set the appropriate blend shape or viseme, whatever you want to call it, so that when it's in VSeeFace, you can actually talk and stuff. And this is also the point where if you want any customization stuff to just be persistent and active, you go into neutral, set the blend shapes that you want. And this is also the point where we can set up toggles, assuming your model has the blend shapes for toggles. If you want object toggles, then you would need to use a VSF avatar with animations, I believe. I could be wrong, but who knows. I've never done VSF avatars, I just do VRM. I still need to learn VSF. Anyway, sidetracking. Once you got that all set up, then we go to export it again. Then once you've got it exported, you can bring it into VSeeFace, and you'll notice it's now talking and stuff whenever you talk and move. And if you want to be sure to be able to use the toggles, you're going to want to go over to expression settings, find the toggle that you set up, set a hotkey for it, and then boom, you've got a toggle. And then you've got a fully working VRM avatar that you can use for streams, videos, whatever you want to use it for. You could even use it as just a webcam in a video call. But either way, you've got a working one. I hope you enjoyed this. I've lost my mind a bit recording this. Have fun, enjoy, hope you learned something, hope you enjoyed my insanity. See ya.